Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever felt that pressure, needing to get up to speed on something complex like right now, maybe for a big meeting or a strategy decision?
Oh, absolutely. It's that feeling of just drowning in articles, reports, data.
Exactly. Imagine let's call her Sarah, a product manager. CEO asks her to figure out the future of sustainable packaging. Suddenly, she's got digital stacks of reports.
Yeah.
Where do you even start to find the real insight? Not just, more noise.
Yeah, it's the challenge, isn't it? So much information, but making sense of it is the hard part.
Right, and that's why we're diving into this today. We're talking about AI, but not just as like a glorified search engine.
No, much more than that. Think of it as a sophisticated, tireless research partner.
Yeah, a partner. So this deep dive, our mission really, is to show you how to fundamentally change how you gather and process information.
Mm-hmm. How to leverage AI to seriously speed things up and uncover stuff you might have missed otherwise.
Giving you a shortcut, basically, to being genuinely well-informed. So we'll walk through some really practical techniques, how to partner with AI from start to finish.
From figuring out the right questions.
To pulling it all together, making sense of it, and, creating something useful at the end.
And crucially, keeping your own critical thinking switched on. That's key.
Absolutely essential. So let's start with the core problem we're all facing. It's not usually finding information, is it? There's plenty of that.
Oh, there's almost too much. The real bottleneck is making sense of it, turning raw information into actionable insights. That's the value add.
And that's where AI has this unique strength, right?
Exactly. It's fascinating, actually. Large language models, they can process just vast amounts of text, identify patterns, synthesize information at incredible speed. Imagine an assistant that can read thousands of pages in minutes.
Wow.
Remember everything it read and help you connect dots across completely different sources, things a human might easily miss.
So for our product manager, Sarah, doing market research or analyzing trends.
Right. Or preparing for strategic decisions, or even just getting up to speed on a totally new topic, AI can drastically cut down the time and potentially increase the depth.
That's a huge shift. It really does sound like we're moving beyond just, typing prompts into a box. It's more like designing the research process itself.
You could call it research architecture, yeah.
So if AI is this incredible assistant, how do we, make sure we're getting the most out of it? It can't just be about asking a random question.
No, definitely not. You need a systematic approach to really unlock its potential. And that starts with defining really clear research objectives.
Right. Not just sustainable packaging.
Exactly. Much more specific, like Sarah needs to ask, what are the most promising biodegradable materials for food packaging in the next 5 years, and what are their cost implications? Specific questions, specific goals.
Okay.
And that leads to building a proper research plan. You outline the scope, the key areas you need to investigate, what you want the output to look like. It's also really important to break down big, complex topics into smaller, manageable chunks. And decide up front what counts as good quality, relevant information for this project.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Because, yes, AI is powerful, super powerful. But how do we stop ourselves from just outsourcing our thinking? How do we make sure our judgment stays sharp and central to the whole thing?
That's a crucial point. It's about partnership, not replacement. The goal isn't for the AI to do all the thinking, it's to elevate your thinking.
Okay, how?
Well, there are, I'd say, 3 key things to keep hammering home. First, critical evaluation. Always assess what the AI gives you. Is it accurate? Is it relevant? Is it complete? AI can make mistakes. It can hallucinate.
Right, or just echo biases from its training data.
Exactly. Second, source verification. Insist that the AI provides sources for its claims. And then you, the human, need to actually check the key ones, especially if it's for a big decision. Don't just trust it blindly. And third, remember the complementary strengths. AI is brilliant for covering huge amounts of ground, spotting patterns, seeing the forest, so to speak.
Okay.
But humans bring the nuance, the domain expertise, the context. We understand the trees. We can even question if we're looking at the right forest in the first place. It's that blend that gives you the real edge.
The blend. I like that. And what about the ethical side of things? Does using AI change our responsibilities as researchers?
That's a good reminder. The core principles of responsible research don't change just because you've got an AI assistant.
So things like?
Well, proper attribution is still vital. Always cite your sources correctly, even if AI helped you find or synthesize them. Transparency is key too. Be clear about AI's role when you share your findings.
Okay.
Respect privacy. Don't feed sensitive or confidential information into these systems inappropriately. And actively seek out balanced perspectives. Don't just rely on the first answer. Push the AI for diverse viewpoints, maybe even counter-arguments.
Right. Actively counteract potential biases. Okay, that's a solid foundation. Let's get into the nitty-gritty now. We've talked about structure, human judgment, ethics. But what does this look like day to day? When I sit down, how do I actually do this? Starting with planning and asking the right questions.
This is where crafting a really precise research brief is, well, invaluable. It becomes your guide.
Yeah.
Let's stick with Sarah and her sustainable packaging solutions for food.
Okay.
Her primary objective might be identify the most commercially viable and environmentally sound materials for fresh produce packaging. See how specific that is.
Yeah, much tighter.
Then, key questions. What are the top compostable packaging materials out there globally? How do consumers actually feel about green packaging across different demographics? What are the regulatory hurdles for new stuff in Europe versus North America? She'd specify the required depth. Maybe she needs in-depth analysis with case studies, economic data. She'd define the perspective. Maybe she needs input from material scientists, manufacturers, and consumers. And finally, the output format. Maybe a comparative report, perhaps with a SWOT analysis for each potential material. This level of detail directs the AI precisely. It knows exactly what you need, not just some general overview.
That makes so much sense. It gives the AI a really clear target. So, okay, we've got our specific question, our brief. How do we then systematically gather and synthesize all that information without getting totally overwhelmed?
It's really about being systematic and iterative. Don't try to boil the ocean at once.
Okay.
You start broad, just get a feel for the landscape. Then you identify the key subtopics, maybe based on material types or regions or applications. Create a structure.
Like an outline.
Exactly. Then you drill down. Gather detailed info for each section of your outline. And critically, as you go, you're constantly looking for connections, patterns, maybe even contradictions across the different sources.
Can you give an example of how you'd prompt for that synthesis part?
Sure. Let's say Sarah's now focusing on emerging bioplastics for food packaging. A good synthesis prompt might look something like this, quite detailed. Summarize key advancements in PLA and PHA bioplastics reported in 2023. Identify the main challenges holding back their large-scale adoption. Highlight any contradictory findings regarding their actual biodegradability in real-world conditions. Extract examples of recent commercial partnerships or pilot programs using these materials. Finally, connect these insights into practical recommendations for food manufacturers aiming to transition by 2025.
Wow, okay. That's not just one question. That's like a mini research project in one prompt.
Precisely. A detailed, multi-part prompt like that pushes the AI beyond simple summary towards actual effective synthesis. It forces it to connect the dots.
That's powerful. It sounds like the AI is not just summarizing, but actively analyzing relationships. Okay, so we have the synthesized info. But what about critically evaluating it? Especially if we're looking at, say, a market research report that might have its own angle or limitations, can AI help us critique sources?
Absolutely. You can use AI very effectively here by giving it a structured critical framework to apply to a source.
A framework? So
imagine Sarah found a report on consumer preferences for electric vehicles. She could feed that report to the AI and ask it to evaluate it using specific criteria.
Okay, like a checklist.
Sort of, yeah. The framework could include points like, what are the report's key claims? How strong is the evidence quality? What is the methodology, sample size, data collection method? Is the logical structure sound? Do the conclusions actually follow from the data presented? What alternative perspectives might be missing? What are the report's limitations, geographic scope, demographics, time period? And finally, what are the practical implications of these findings for, say, an automaker's strategy?
I see. So you're guiding the AI to perform a structured critique, not just asking, is this report any good?
Exactly. You're leveraging the AI's processing power, but directing it with your human understanding of what constitutes a good critique. It sharpens your critical thinking, too, by forcing you to define those evaluation criteria.
This is great. Okay, I feel like we're really getting into how to make this work. Now let's talk about maximizing our edge, unlocking even more power. What are some power-ups for our AI research game? Tips and tricks.
Okay, definitely. One really effective technique is what you might call progressive deepening.
Progressive deepening.
Yeah. You start with broad questions, get the lay of the land from the AI, then based on those initial answers, you formulate much more specific, granular questions to dive deeper into the areas that seem most promising or relevant.
So start wide, then zoom in where it matters.
Precisely. Another one, comparative analysis. Don't just ask about one thing. Have the AI explicitly compare multiple sources, different viewpoints, maybe competing technologies, or even data sets. Ask it to highlight the common ground, the discrepancies, the unique insights from each.
Okay, making it draw comparisons. Smart.
And always, always request structured outputs. Don't just accept a block of text. Ask for information in tables, bullet points, timelines, maybe even draft text for a presentation slide. Structure helps AI organize, and it helps you digest the information much faster.
Right, easier to process.
And finally, embrace iteration cycles. Think of it as a conversation. Your first prompt might not be perfect. Use the AI's initial response, even if it's flawed, to refine your question, clarify your needs, and steer the research in a better direction. It's back and forth.
That makes sense. It's not a one-shot deal. But what happens when things go wrong? What if the AI just says, I don't have information on that? Or worse, what if you get sources that seem to completely contradict each other? That happens all the time in real research.
It does. And you need strategies for that. If you hit an information gap, don't just give up. Prompt the AI differently, ask for alternative sources, suggest different search terms it could use internally, or even ask it why that information might be hard to find. Sometimes understanding the why is insightful itself.
Okay, and contradictions.
When you find contradictory information, be explicit. Tell the AI, source A says this, source B says that. Compare these two directly. Evaluate their methodologies if possible. What are potential reasons for this discrepancy? Make the AI confront the conflict.
Put it on the spot.
In a way, yes. For technical complexity, if the AI's explanation is too dense, just tell it. Explain this concept like I'm a beginner, or explain this for a senior executive, or explain the technical details for an engineer.
Yeah.
You can adjust the altitude.
Adapt the complexity level. Nice.
And if you're just drowning in results, information overload, ask the AI to help you manage it. Create an executive summary of these findings. Highlight only the top 3 most critical points. Suggest a way to visualize this data, maybe a chart or a mind map. Use it to distill.
Okay, those are really practical solutions. So you've gone through this whole process. You've used AI smartly. You've got these deep analyzed insights. How do you make sure they land? How do you create compelling research outputs that actually get attention and drive action?
That's the final crucial step, isn't it? It's all about clarity and impact. First, audience adaptation. Think constantly about who you're presenting to.
Right.
You can actually ask the AI, rephrase these findings for a non-technical audience, or summarize this for a busy executive. Tailor the density, the jargon.
Use AI to translate, essentially.
Exactly. Second, think visually. Visual elements. Even if you're not a designer, you can ask the AI, based on this data, what kind of chart would be most effective? Or suggest some icons or images that represent these key themes, or outline ideas for an infographic.
Get suggestions for visuals. That's helpful.
Third, narrative structure. Don't just dump facts. Ask the AI to help you organize your findings into a logical story. Help me structure this research into an argument with an introduction, supporting points, and a conclusion. A good narrative makes information sticky.
Tell a story with the data.
And finally, always, always, create concise executive summaries. Get the AI to draft a summary that hits the absolute key findings and their implications right at the top. Give your audience a bottom line immediately.
Perfect for busy stakeholders. Okay, so let's pull back for a second. What does this all really mean for us? It feels like we've, fundamentally shifted how we should think about AI in research.
I think we have. It's gone from being, a tool that answers simple questions to potentially being a sophisticated, almost indispensable research partner.
Yeah.
And the key is realizing that by putting these structured processes in place, by consciously balancing the AI's power with your own human judgment and critical thinking, you can achieve research results that are honestly broader and deeper than what was feasible before, at least for most individuals or small teams.
So the techniques we talked about, crafting those specific briefs, the synthesis prompts, the critical frameworks, the iteration, these aren't just tweaks. They really boost your ability to handle complex information.
Dramatically. Think about Sarah again. Tackling that sustainable packaging challenge used to mean weeks of manual digging. Now she can potentially get a much richer, more nuanced understanding in, well, significantly less time. It lets you tackle bigger questions.
It really democratizes deep research in a way.
It does. And this is the crucial takeaway, the most powerful insights still come from that combination.
Yeah.
AI's processing power, its ability to scan and connect, paired with your expertise, your critical thinking, your judgment. AI spots the patterns across the forest floor.
Yeah.
You decide which path to take and why it matters. It finds the needles. You know what to do with them.
So the final thought for everyone listening is you have this incredibly powerful new capability. AI can help you cover more ground faster, see connections you might have missed. But your brain, your experience, your critical filter, that's what turns information into true, valuable insight.
Exactly. So the question really becomes, how will you use this new blend of AI assistance and human expertise to become an even more essential source of insight in whatever it is you do?